Hi, hello, hi, and welcome to all our hearts and minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We are here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart.
Yeah.
And then there's me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it. Yeah, so we're back again, new episode. Crazy things happening in the world. Whoo. Damn,
Say the
2020,
least.
2024, boy. Anyway,
Williams, what'd you open? Shoot. What'd you open up? The Pandora's box, cat? Shoot.
Oh boy. So we literally we're just a little shaken. We just saw the news about Trump getting shot at a rally. So we're gonna talk about it this episode, but it's a little bit crazy in 2024. You know what I mean? So anyway, before we get into any nonsense, we really need to check in with each other and do our checkup. My friend Kim, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, can't complain. This past week was it was rough. There was moments where I was thinking my entire career. But I got through it.
It
I
happens.
got through it, and sometimes it's not always easy. So those times where I have nothing to report, it's always good. But just, dealing with lawyers, sometimes it can get, just on your good nerve. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
based on what I see on TV, yeah.
Yeah, they are. A lot of them are obnoxious. A lot of them are a lot of things. But you know what? The week is done. We've gotten through another week. We're recording. I'm fired up for this recording. There's so much going on. There's so much popping off. Breaking news while we're recording. So much to look forward to for today and this evening. So all in all, though, I'm all right. Next weekend, though, I'll be taking my daughter for her 11th birthday. I cannot believe I'm saying that. She'll be turning 11 next Sunday.
Yes.
And so I'm taking her out to Ottawa.
Yes.
In Montreal, and we're going to have some girl time and, do a little shopping, sightseeing, just spending, mommy and daughter time. I'm actually looking really forward to it. So I'm counting down the days. How was your week, girl? How was your week?
I love it. I love to hear it. And she's growing up to be a fine young lady very quickly, but this is a really good experience. Jesus. I love the idea. I love the idea of parents going on these little mini trips with their kids. You don't always have to jump on a plane to explore the world, right? So I love it.
This is it. Yeah. And right now, I'm not trying to find myself in an airport. You hear me? Because
okay.
Too much Gwan right now. Let me just simmer down a little bit here. But
so,
how was your week, girl?
My week was okay. It was good. Just a new start in work because it's a new quarter, so you get to start. It's like a clean slate, so it's always like, anybody asks me in the work front, it's like, yeah, it's good. It's a new start. We're gonna crush it,
right?
And who knows how that actually goes, but it's good to start optimistic. And
that's right, momento. Yes.
Personally, I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to get outside a little bit more, and I don't really feel like I've been doing a good job of really enjoying this summer weather. So I need to do something to force myself to get out more in the week. And the week is fine because I go out to work, I go out for walks, and I get some sun. But I need to do more and finding activities to do on the weekend to really enjoy the weather. So I'm working on that. So yeah, other than that, God is good. Okay, so we got our checkup. It sounds like we're doing pretty good. Just before we get into the headlines, just a reminder for listeners, remember to rate the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave your comments, say hello. We have all our contact information in the profile. Send us a note. We want to hear from y'all. So thank you again for tuning in, and we'll get into it now.
Yes.
All right. So headlines. Again, like I mentioned, we are kind of rolling from the breaking news about the attempt on Trump earlier today at a rally. We're going to talk about it in our What the Gwan for Real segment because it's too much to just blip through in the headlines. So
Right?
we're gonna talk a little
Mhm.
bit more about it in our upcoming segment.
Mhm.
Don't worry, don't you worry about that. All right.
Mhm.
So first headline is a local story going on here with us here in Toronto and Canada. We have currently our. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to have to explain it, but the Liquor Board Association here is on strike, and what that means is our main liquor stores, their doors are closed. They are
Closed.
they are closed.
Okay.
The estimated time, so we can't go to the main place there's to get our liquor, our hard liquor. We have other sources, but the main place,
Mhm.
liquor, Ontario's Liquor Control Board, is closed for a strike. It's been 1 week, and people were estimated that would be 2 weeks, so we're probably going into week two.
Mhm.
Um, Me personally, I mean, I don't drink like that, so it's not huge. I already had two nice bottles of wines already stored up at home, and a couple
Mhm.
of coolers and some tequila from Mexico. So if I really needed a drink,
Right? Shoot.
I wouldn't be thirsty. But
Right? Mhm.
it's summer, it's barbecue season. This could be very inconvenient if you weren't planning. So, to what I was saying, alternative places to buy alcohol where we are in Ontario in Canada is grocery stores,
Mhm.
and we have something called the beer store, so we can go get beer and ciders at the beer store if anybody's curious. It is interesting because if you're not from Canada, our liquor is controlled by each province, so as or if you're in the US, a
Differently,
state
yeah, from each
differently.
province. Yeah.
So each
Mhm.
province has a different way in how they control the
Mhm.
sale and consumption of alcohol.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
where we are, they're on strike
Mhm.
because our provincial leader, Doug Ford, um, is looking to expand the sale of alcohol from just the LCBO stores and grocery stores to now gas stations, convenience stores, and other big
And
box
the gas
outlets.
station one could never. I could not. Sorry, I need to
Yeah,
interject on
yeah,
this because I
yeah,
could
yeah,
never
yeah,
understand why you'd want to put liquor in a gas station.
yeah.
I think it's an oxymoron. I think that you're asking for trouble. You're asking for
Mm,
trouble. Here we have, like the huge organization MAD, Mothers
yeah,
Against Drunk
mother.
Driving. Okay.
Yeah,
We have huge organizations like that. Yet you're going to make it accessible where you would get gas for your car. So I just
yeah,
don't feel like they go hand in hand. Like I just feel like that's a whole nother ball game. You
yeah.
open that up and that's a
Me
problem.
Yeah, and like we were talking about this, me personally, like I always it was always interesting. It's like it's what you're used to, right? So it was always
Yeah.
interesting when I would go to the US and you could just go to a convenience store, a corner
Anyway,
store, and buy alcohol, or a bodega and buy alcohol, or a gas station and find alcohol. That was foreign to me because, as I just mentioned, we could only 20 years ago we could only buy alcohol at an
at the
LCBO
LCBO.
store. And now in
Yeah.
the recent years, you can buy it at grocery stores, which I think that was a good flexibility to have. I personally was fine with that. But the convenience store and the gas stations, my worry is you're going to start getting the winos and the drunks loitering around those areas.
But how
And
do you encourage people not to drink and drive, yet you supply them alcohol where they would fill up their car for gas? It
that too.
just doesn't make any damn sense. It doesn't make sense that you have huge organizations like MAD who are fighting against drunk driving, yet you're making it accessible for not only me to fill up my tank on my car, but to fill up my tank in my body. Like it just doesn't. I never, I've gone to the States many a times. I've gone to gas stations and you can catch a whole 40 of vodka. Like,
Hmm.
what are we doing here? I think the message is shaded. You don't want me to drink and drive, yet you give me an option to have alcohol in my carriage while I'm driving. Like it just
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. You know
and
what I mean?
we were talking about And and it, to me, at the end of the day, I think it's a way for the government, to the provincial Ontario government, to make more money off of
Of
the sale of
course.
alcohol. Because I just couldn't, I was trying to rationalize it. I'm like, people weren't picketing, people are excited. And this was something that he put on his, when he was going to be elected as a leader of the provincial leader of Ontario, that this was something that he touted. But I'm like, if people, is it really that much of a deal breaker for
Well,
people?
nobody
Because
cares.
I
Nobody's
mean,
had a problem.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I feel like I miss it. Like, me, just because I'm not a drinker like that, I don't know if other people were really.
Then why haven't we seen protesting?
Exactly. You're right. You're right. And
So,
so,
whether
pretty
I'm a
much,
drinker or not, we would see the protesting of people wanting alcohol accessible like
yes, it
that
would
to
be a
them.
big thing from a
It
long
would be,
time ago.
especially here in Canada, okay?
Yes, pretty
Because,
restricted.
like
It's
we said,
controlled.
we've been very restricted. And within the last 15 years or so, it's been more accessible, such as in Walmart and grocery stores and so on and so forth. So, there's been nobody who's contested what has been happening so far. So, I'm sorry to say, but this is just a ploy to make more money for the province.
Yeah.
Period.
And so now, why are they on strike? The strike is, because it was my assumption, is that
Hmm.
now, if the LCBO stores that are now striking, those employees are now concerned, because if alcohol is going to now be sold in other stores, then you could guess, if I'm a worker in the LCBO, I would be concerned. I'd be like, oh, that's potentially less stores. That's maybe less hours. And so they're trying to protect their rights,
Their
and their future,
jobs.
their
Yeah.
jobs, knowing that this business is now being privatized, more widely across the province. So,
Along
um,
with a lot of things that have been privatized in our province.
yes, it's
At
been
one point, look at the healthcare system. How that's turned when they once they went public, because it was
exactly.
privately owned before.
Yeah. And so
Um.
the union, which is a part of OPSU, or Public Service Employees Union, spoke on what, they sent out an official statement, and they said that, which is obvious, that I just said, they're not opposed to expanding privatized booze sales, at least in principle, but the leaders say that the province's plan threatens LCBO's future as a retailer and could lead to thousands of job losses within a few years. The LCBO generates 2.5 billion annual in dividends for the government, and a figure that does not include provincial taxes on alcohol. See, so our guess, it's right there, black and white. And retail, these stores currently account for 80% of that 2.5 billion. So,
So imagine you take that out of the equation. You're going to drop to at least half. So there'll be a higher unemployment rate, right? It just doesn't make any logical sense, especially if no one's kicking up a fuss about it.
yeah, but we
You're
know.
losing jobs, therefore the economy will suffer. So I just don't think it's being thought through. But at this point, I think the government is on a money grab,
Hmm.
and all that money that they had given out during the pandemic, they're coming to collect. So
All right, so we'll see. Hopefully, they come off strike. We'll see how far this goes, but that's what we're facing right now. It's hard. We can get alcohol, but that hard liquor is hard to come by right now, if you're into
unless you
that.
go to a bar,
Or that too. They,
right?
bars.
Or the duty
Bars have been here
free,
from the beginning of time. You can never fail with the bars.
or just go to the duty free. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways to go around it. That's why I don't understand why. And I'll be honest, and this is the last thing I have to say about that, but
Yeah.
this strike might go on longer than we think. Because what I've observed in my time is that whenever there's a strike, unless it's a major part of our city, a major function of our city, they won't
Mm.
pay attention to it.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. A few years ago, the garbage men, the sanitation workers of the city, decided to go on strike.
Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks, they had a full agreement. They got
Hmm.
everything they wanted
Hmm.
because it affected the flow of our city.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to say, but the LCBO just doesn't affect the flow of our city enough.
We'll see. I mean, some
This is
people
why
were.
we're in week 2.
Did you get any emails from your work? Anybody at work being like,
Not a
"Oh,
soul. Nobody
not
gives
a
a shit.
soul."
Okay. Because you can still get alcohol. That's what I'm saying.
That's
It's not
true.
a major function of our society.
Yeah,
The
that's why I
LCBO
think.
is not yes, it's 2.5 billion, but what the government is saying, we want to tap more into that
Mm-hmm.
and eliminate the middleman. So, yeah, they're going to be on strike for a while, best believe it. They will
Mm.
be because they have no real function in our society.
Yeah, and this
I
is your
can still
last.
get alcohol. I can go to a bar. I can go to the beer store. There's some people out in the bush that still have moonshine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not that important. Grand scheme of things, my
Grand
garbage is
scheme.
still being picked up. The streets are still being, clean. I'm just saying the healthcare system is still going on. Like,
Yeah.
what function do you play other than getting our society drunk? Like, what function do you play? Well, let's see how long that lasts for.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts for. All right, so going to the next story. Okay, so we haven't covered this in a while. Alec
Mm-hmm.
Baldwin, the Alec
But I'm
Baldwin
glad to
case.
hear. Mm-hmm.
I am. I saw the video when they announced it, and you never know with actors.
Yeah,
I hate to say this. Anytime I see,
I
I
know,
hate
right?
to
I
admit
know, I
this,
know, I
but
know,
so
I know.
anytime I see an actor express an evident emotion, I'm always like, is this a performance? But anyway, he was. I'm gonna say he was probably very truly grateful, because I think it was ridiculous that this was even made. This was actually he was actually formally charged. To be honest, like, charged and had to go to
Mm-mm.
trial for this. And so anyway, as we heard a couple years ago, Alec Baldwin was involved in an incident where on set, where a gun that was supposed to have blank bullets went off, and he ended up the cinematographer, the director of photography, ended up dying from that wound. So a live bullet was in the gun for some reason,
Yet
and
no one can explain that reason. But go on. Mm-hmm.
right, and everybody was saying, like, what about the prop person, the person, I can't remember the name, and there is, I was calling them a prop person, but there's actually an official name for the person who's supposed to manage the gun business. But I remember
Mm-hmm.
it was a woman, I don't remember her name. If anybody was supposed to hold any type of accountability, it was that person, because all Alec Baldwin is doing is somebody's putting a prop in his hand, a director is saying action, and then whatever. You're not expecting a
No,
live bullet to be in the thing. So
there
anyway,
shouldn't be a live bullet on
we
set.
thought it was a terrible incident. We talked about it. We thought it was a tragedy, and he's going to have to live with that. But that's enough. Like, I don't expect him to get charged. He shouldn't be charged, in my opinion, in our opinion. And it was strange to find out as the time went on. I think it was last year where they said that they were going to charge him and everything. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
this week a judge dismissed all his charges.
Okay,
And
Mr. Baldwin. Mm-hmm.
he broke down in tears. And they argued that the prosecutors deliberately hid bullets that were turned over to investigators, which were relevant
Mm.
to the case. So it was actually dismissed on a, what do we call it, these
Technicality.
technicality, in terms of how the
Mm-hmm.
prosecutor put their case together, and not in what I thought was common sense. Again, I
Well,
know
they
the
don't
law
have
that,
a case. That's why they put it together so sloppy.
right. And so anyway, Alec is not gonna be going to jail for this.
Thank
He
goodness, because I'm sure he's already in jail in his mind.
he's already mentally and emotionally gonna have to deal with the fact that he took another person's life, on
Mm-hmm.
accident or not. It happened. And
And I'm
so,
sorry, I'm gonna keep it a buck. If I were Alec, I would be going to sue. I'm suing everybody on that damn set.
yeah. And Alec
Everybody
has,
is going to get sued.
and he has a
Everybody.
whole heap of kids. So this is not a man who, he went and got himself a young wife again and got married, and he has a whole heap of kids. All right, so the man needs his money.
And he's been out of I think he's been out of work for a while
Yeah,
because he's
yeah,
had to
because
deal with this.
he has to deal with this. So
Mentally, emotionally, all of the above. I
I
mean,
actually recently saw an announcement somewhere. I don't know how old the video was, but it's something about him having a reality show with his wife, and probably his wife leading it. So you know, times when there's a
Mm-hmm.
reality show involved,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah. We're broke. We're
money
broke.
half a mech, as we
Mm-hmm.
say.
Yep.
So congrats to him. Congrats to him getting that off
Yes.
his plate. I mean, he
Yes.
has to deal with the emotional turmoil, but at least one less thing to worry about
And let this
after this
be a lesson
tragedy.
to everybody. Can we have a double check? Can we have another staff member that's objective? You know what I mean? To check out these guns. Like, I don't think that, I think
That,
it should be mandatory now for most sets to have a double check. Like,
it's crazy that this happened. Like, again, I don't know what happened, but as a bystander, and from what I've read, this is just like, how is there even live bullets available? There shouldn't even be
I don't
live
even know.
bullets
How did they get on the
available.
set?
There you go. There shouldn't even be
Who
live
brought them
bullets.
on the damn set?
Everything should be blankety blank blank.
Because live bullets don't just pick up feet and walk onto people's sets. They
And
just don't do that.
right, so that's what I'm saying. It's like very, because I don't know if you remember. We'll move on, but the only other case that I know of this was Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's such It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's almost like hard to believe that that's like something that can happen.
Well,
Um,
it's hard to believe that it wasn't a conspiracy.
right, where like somebody didn't do it on
Because
purpose. That's what I mean.
I'm sorry, somebody was out for Alec. Somebody was out for him because, like I just said, live bullets don't pick up feet, walk on set, go into a gun that was supposedly checked, okay, and then just fire off. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So somebody brought them on set. Somebody placed them in the gun after it was supposedly checked. Okay? And Alec, I'm sorry. You were the end of the whole task. You pulled the trigger. But
Yeah,
good for you, Alec. And you know what? I really hope that having this small win can help you um mentally, emotionally, and hopefully we'll see you back out there acting again,
yeah.
because I could see how this would deter someone from wanting to.
Yeah, it's pretty charming. I'm not doing no action movies. I'm
What?
not playing a cop. I'm
Listen,
not doing nothing. I don't even want to be on set when the gun's
nah,
going off.
man. I'm gonna be doing cartoons from now on, bro. Okay, voiceover. Um, yeah, but okay, good for Alec though. I'm glad it was dismissed, and I'm glad whatever funny business was going on was brought to light,
Yeah.
even if it's on a technicality. Because
Yes.
technically, him shooting the person in the first place was a technicality.
Yeah.
So, he got off
Um.
on a technicality. So,
Here
but
we
yeah.
go. Kevin Hart. So our next story was on Kevin Hart. He was being sued by one of his old friends. If anybody, he's told this story before, but I recall the story when he did his
Mm-hmm.
documentary on he did his documentary on Netflix a few years, sometime during
Mm-hmm.
COVID. He did a documentary, just talk about his story or whatever. And his friend, there was a story where he says that there was a video that was used. I don't know what was on the video. I don't know if
Him
you're
having
telling.
sex with some Spanish girl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he was some sex tape with another woman, and that person was extorting Kevin for the tape. In the documentary, he says it's a friend. He doesn't say who, but he says
Right.
it's somebody that he's acquainted with, and whatever. So now I find out with this new story that it was this person who's suing him now, which is JJ Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
and he is suing for 12 million because, and it was a part of the agreement. I guess
Mm-hmm.
he said this incident happened, and I guess what JJ sued him, asked him to apologize. A part of the settlement was that JJ asked Kevin Hart to apologize because obviously this brought down his name. A lot of people were like, this is like a
Mm-hmm.
reputational blow for
Well, it
this
was
actor.
actually, from my understanding, it was actually Kevin Hart that brought the charges against Mr. Johnson,
Yeah, John.
JT.
JT.
And so he was saying extortion and all of these things, blackmail, all these things.
Mhm.
And, Kevin Hart has a way of changing the narrative, right? And so him and his team crafted this story that he was extorting him because of this sex tape. And the
Mhm.
reason why Kevin Hart didn't want the sex tape to be out there is because he is a cheater. He cheated
Mhm.
on his first wife with his second, and now his second wife at this time was pregnant. She didn't want her to find out that he's out here in these streets again, cheating
Mhm.
again. There's a tape that was recorded of his interaction with this young lady, and now because it was leaked or whatever, whoever got their hands on it, he is now trying to. JT, I want to give a bit of history with him and Kevin. So him and Kevin have been friends for 15 plus years. So they haven't just been like, comedy buddies. No, they're actual friends that were involved with each other's lives, with each other's kids, marriages, going to the cookout at his house for July 4th type of friend,
Mhm.
and Kevin Hart threw him under the bus. He threw him so far underneath that bus because he didn't want his wife to find out he was cheating. And when it was leaked, he tried to, damage control by saying that he's being extorted and the video's not true and da 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 and all of these things. Okay. And come turn around 2 years later, and every accusation that Kevin Hart tried to prove was dismissed. So this guy went through 2 years of turmoil in his career because nobody wants to mess with him because of Kevin Hart. Like, look at Kevin Hart's name and how much weight it carries in the comedy arena.
Mhm.
Second, nobody, that's your friend. You're going to do that to your friend. So nobody wanted to mess with him because they think he's a backstabber.
Mhm.
So his career's shot to shit. Friends are shot to shit. His whole life was shot to shit because of Kevin. And so nothing was founded, nothing was proved, it was all dismissed, and a settlement was made
Mhm.
that JT asked that he specifically name him and apologize and state that he had nothing to do with it. And Kevin did none of the kind. He
Yeah.
did a very general statement that did not include who the hell he was talking about. Okay? So nobody knows what the hell Kevin is saying. And so he didn't actually live up to his end of the bargain. And so JT's like, oh, no, 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 fam. You're not going to throw me under the bus because you're a cheating, lying man. No, I'm going to get mine. So initially, he had no intention of suing him for any money. That's why he asked, just make this public statement and we're good. But
Mhm.
Kevin, like the narcissist that he is, decided not to do that. And now this guy's coming for the jugular. And to be
Mhm.
quite honest, I think you should ask for more.
Hey, 12 million.
Why not make it 20? In this day and age, can't buy a pack of bread for less than $3. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, for real, for real. No, no. The reason why I say he should have asked for more is because Kevin had no qualms with throwing this guy under the bus. Why did you choose him? That's my question. Why him? You know? So I think that I don't like Kevin Hart. I'm going to put that out there for all the listeners. I don't like him. I think that he's a narcissist. I think that his funny has worn off a long time ago. I feel as though Kevin, he does some real funky shit out here that if you were to think about it, he's not as funny as you might think he is. He's really not. And so there's only so many times you can say the same damn jokes, okay? Before they're not funny anymore, especially when we see who you really are. And this is an example of that. So
Mm.
sue his ass, yes. You should have upped it to 20 mil plus costs, lawyer
Yeah.
fees. Uh-huh. He has
Yeah.
it.
So,
He has it.
um,
I mean, he just scraped by the other day, not having to pay his two friends that he left in a car to burn and die. So he
mhm.
should have it. He should have it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I guess in terms of what I've understood about this case, it's just that JT, yeah, you have to advocate for yourself, and if you lost a career and a way to fund, like your family was traumatized when your home was raided and everything, then yeah, go for what you need to your what do you call it? You need your reparations.
That's
So
right.
yeah, we'll see what happens
Because
there, but
everything that they said he did, they have no evidence of it.
yeah, and so that's why they had the settlement on the 2021,
Yeah.
and to your point where they made the agreement that he needs to specifically
Hmm.
apologize to JT about this narrative, to wipe the slate clean. And so I don't know why Kevin hasn't done that. I feel like at this point he has nothing to lose in doing that except his pride and his ego. But like you
And
said,
maybe his
maybe,
wife.
I mean, she's not going nowhere.
She wasn't going nowhere back then when she was pregnant anyway.
Yeah, she wasn't going anywhere. I
Okay.
think outside of his wife, I think there's also like his image. He wants to have the clean family man image, and so that lifestyle was kind of tarnishing it. So I think outside of obviously wanting
Then how about
to,
you just not sleep with the girl?
right, but hey,
Okay. That's
people
what
with
we're doing now.
people with power, we can never understand their thinking and their logic, right?
No. Until they start falling.
Yeah,
Okay?
the fall. When the fall, well, it's so funny. When the fall happens, that's when they're singing like a canary. I was this,
Canaries.
I was
Okay.
this, I was that, I was this, I was that. Well, if you're doing this and that, then just be own up to it. Like
Right?
all this performance is just like what? Anywho, we'll see what happens with that. Just a quick thing that's cute to break up all the DDG and Bailey. Is it Halle Bailey or Haley Bailey? I don't know.
Haley.
Maybe
Isn't it
it's Haley
Haley?
Bailey. I don't know. I have to look it up. I don't want to mispronounce it, but forgive me. You know who I'm talking about.
No, yes.
The Little Mermaid.
Miss Bailey, if you yeah.
It's yeah, Miss Bailey if you're nasty.
Right?
The Black Mermaid, the Black Little Mermaid is
Little
who I'm talking
Mermaid.
about.
Little Mermaid. Mm-hmm.
She showed her and her boyfriend, I guess, is recently showed the pictures of their 6-month-old son and Halo, who
Mm-hmm.
is a spitting image of her and her family.
That's
The
right.
Bailey genes
Yeah,
kicked
they
up
don't play,
a
man.
scene.
They don't
The
play.
DDG, I mean DD. People say they see DDG.
I don't know where.
I'm
In
like,
his
where?
forehead? I don't know.
Like, shit, I don't know. Maybe a couple of years, if his head shape might be, I don't know. But all I know is that face, the eyes, the cheeks, the lips.
Yep.
I just see the Bailey genes, and it was very beautiful to see.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I wasn't one of the. I think they could protect their image of their child. They didn't have to reveal him, but maybe they must have their reason. Eventually, he probably would have been revealed anyway. So I guess it's good they revealed him on their terms. And yeah, and then the other thing was people. There was a video accompanied that, or shortly after that post, where DDG is showing a barber just doing a supposed lineup. I mean, it was very. It wasn't a real lineup, but the barber did a little two love taps on his forehead, and yeah, so people were like, what are you doing, da 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 da, and hey, I mean, and new parents, they don't all have experience to know that you leave your kid's scalp and head alone, his skull alone, for a while, at least a year. Don't touch your kid's scalp. Let it just, it's very new and it's a very sensitive area. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so he was getting a lot of, he can't catch a break, DDG.
You know
But
what
it
the thing is, DDG, is that I feel like the antics sometimes you think they go over well and they don't. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a
like
baby. Like you think it's fun. You're having yes, it's fun.
yeah.
You're a young person and you're enjoying your child, but certain things there are certain ways and traditions in rearing, especially a newborn. A newborn is so vulnerable. Like we
Well,
don't want to.
that's it.
We don't.
West Indian culture, they'd say you don't even touch the baby hair until they talk.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't cut no hair until they talk. And maybe they came up with that superstition
Mm-hmm.
because by time a child can talk, they're roughly around 1 to 2 years old,
Well, in that a little bit over a year. Yeah.
right? Where their head is firm.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scalp, it's still tender on the inside, but it's hard enough on the outside, right? So, yeah, listen, the thing is with DDG is that his antics don't always go over well. To me, his immaturity is kind of like disgusting. He always wants to compare how much money he has to everybody else. And, you know, the one thing I'm going to say, and this might not be liked, but I'm watching to see that this man doesn't turn this child into a prop.
Well, he
Because
can't.
Haley,
Well,
Haley, you are the superstar in the two. You are the superstar. DDG, I'm not saying you don't have your hustle. I'm not saying you don't got your little money. I'm not saying you don't have your little career. Okay? You do. However, your wife or your girlfriends are, your baby mother, okay? She's the superstar. Yeah. And as much as you might not like that, that's the reality. So, over the course of their relationship, I've seen him be jealous of Haley.
mm,
I've seen him go on with antics that are just not becoming to Haley's career. And now we have this baby. And I feel like you're already starting to use this baby as a prop. And it's a baby. It's a human life, not a prop. You know? Um you know, I understand they're it's on their own time. They want to show us their child when they're good and ready.
ready,
But for
yeah.
me, the way that they've been doing this child from the very beginning doesn't sit well with me. You know, if you're truly trying to look for the experience to be just for you and your man, then why are you teasing the public? You know, when you were pregnant, you're in the mall, you're wearing all this big ass clothes like nobody knows you're damn pregnant. We know you're damn pregnant. Then all of a sudden the baby pops out from nowhere. Now you had a baby. Then it was, oh, we ain't showing the baby's face. And every minute you want to take a picture with this child, but you don't want to show the baby's face. Okay? Now, here we are. The baby's 6 months and you're trying to give him a lineup. Does something sound consistent here? The
I don't
baby
know.
is becoming a prop.
I think the baby was one thing we have to establish with DDG. DDG got famous from YouTube. He's a YouTuber. That's how he
Mm-hmm.
makes his money. Yes, he's a rapper, but he made money. I'm pretty sure the majority of his wealth came from YouTube before he
Yeah, I
transitioned to
did.
music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're a YouTuber and you've seen any of these family YouTube channels and stuff, you know
Yes.
after a while they get desperate and they start doing a whole everything is a prop, everything is a story, everything
Yeah.
is a video.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I agree.
and
I
so
agree.
I think he doesn't even know how not to make the baby a prop at this point.
Right? It
I'm not
seems
talking
like.
yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Have fun with your child. Please,
yeah,
please be
he's
careful with
very
the
cute
baby.
kid and be
He's still
conscious
a
and
little baby.
careful.
He's not even one yet. Like, bro, give him a
Um
chance, man. Goodness.
so
Mm-hmm.
back to some serious news. So Bad Barbie, the Catch Me Outside girl was recently online and uh she shared a disturbing video of herself after a
Mm-hmm.
domestic violence incident with her baby daddy. It was crazy. You could see stitches. Her face was super swollen,
Her
and
eye
this
was
is
shut.
her eye was swollen shut,
Can you
and this was
imagine?
being
My
assaulted by
God.
her ex supposedly ex boyfriend,
Is it her
but the
baby
father
father? It's her baby
yeah he
father,
is
I
the
think.
father of
Yeah.
her child Levon. Um, and she posted it saying that I love that man more than myself, and it's honestly really sad, but unfortunately this is real life. I know the easy way out is to leave, and that's better said than done. And this is after she posts because she posted and deleted, and everybody's like, all the blogs already got it. So then she went on her stories and said that. So it's already like, girl, like, get out of this situation. You're already sounding like you're back, you're going back.
Right?
But she said she posted it to help him, so he would seek help. So it's like, yeah, if everybody now knows that the extent of your violence, everybody's going to be looking at him crazy, especially since you know what, it doesn't matter who the woman is. I
Right.
don't care. A man should never do this. On top of that, she literally recently just had a baby in March, so the baby would only be
Few
about 4 months,
months.
a
Yeah.
few months, and you're doing this to the mother of your child. So so anyway, prayers up for her. I don't have much to say. I'm not I'm not a big fan of hers, but I don't wish this on anybody.
No.
And I would like for her to get some help and hopefully like her not to be around this guy. But unfortunately, we know it takes a while for domestic violence victims to finally separate from their abusers. So
The one thing I have to say about this is not so much about her and her
mhm.
situation, but that I really don't want to see the internet start glorifying domestic violence. Because
Yeah.
as of late, in the last 2, 3 years, I've seen this trend that is becoming really disturbing to me.
Hmm.
And people who like Krishan Rock
Hmm.
and Blueface, they are like the face of what I'm talking about. Okay?
Hmm.
Domestic violence is not okay.
It's not entertainment.
It's not entertainment. It's not okay. It's not, oh, we'll just get through it till the next time. It's not something that should ever occur in a relationship. It's not love. It's not right. It's wrong. And I just want to put my view out there because I experienced domestic violence. And let me tell you, that stays with you for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
Period. When it was me, I was a teenager. I'm a
Hmm.
grown ass woman now. And I can still remember it like it was yesterday. So, Krishan Rocks of the world, don't go out there glorifying domestic violence between you and your man, because it's not something that we should glorify. We should try to eliminate it. And if
Yeah.
Bhad Baby, you were coming out so that this man can get help, stay the hell away from him.
Yeah.
Because if he could do that to your face,
Mm.
if he could do that to your face,
Yeah. I mean,
your
he's
life
out of.
means next to nothing to him.
Yeah, is he's out of control. If he's out of your face like that, he's completely out of control.
Lost it. Okay? And then, I'm sorry to say this, but it's true. When you mix a man that doesn't give a shit with alcohol and drugs, you're asking for a recipe of death. So
Mm-mm.
please, if you say you're not going to go back to him, I hope you're telling the truth. I hope you're being real with yourself. I hope that you realize your child will learn this nasty, nasty, nasty part of life that you really don't want them to know about. So please, let's not glorify domestic violence because it's not something to glorify. These are people's children that you're beating down on,
Mm.
okay? That's somebody's child. All right. That's somebody's mother. Okay. So this is not funny to me. And when I saw it, I was like, this is scary because
Mm.
the new generation is starting to think that this is okay. And it really isn't. It really isn't. People have died from less. So really, really, I really want to push that this is not okay. Domestic violence is wrong. It is not a fad. It is not funny. It's not entertaining because you know what? If her head hit the concrete the wrong way, she wouldn't even be there to tell that story. So let's just value life, right? As we should.
Mm-hmm.
God didn't give life to us for somebody else to take away. So it's just wrong. And I was so triggered when I saw her. So
Mm.
triggered, like you can't even believe.
Yeah,
You
she's
know,
so young. I think I don't know, maybe 20 at
she has
most.
no idea about life.
Yeah, completely. Hopefully, she has
Teach your
people in her
daughters
corner.
out here. Teach your daughters. Teach your sons. No, but I'll say one thing about her. She never wanted to listen to her mama.
Catch me outside.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, all right. So prayers up to her, and hopefully she has the strength to figure out her situation. And finally, before we get into our first segment, Misa Hylton recently put a post up on Instagram,
She must be
and
broke. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
where she was pretty much glorifying the story of I guess Puffy's rise to fame or something.
Mhm.
It's actually a photo of her with her pregnant belly in 1993, and she's just giving this a long. Y'all can look it up. It's just a long ass post on her story about or Puff story at his rise to fame or whatever. And then and then everybody's like, "Oh, the check cleared." That you always have to look for the theme. I always look for the themes in the comments. So the first
Mhm.
theme number one is a check cleared because Misa Hylton
Hi, Mike.
was cussing up Diddy and his influence on her son and all this stuff, and she was starting to kick up a little dust, a little,
Mhm.
not too
Yep.
much, just a little, not to the point of no return, but she did
Right?
kick up a little
Yeah, she
dust,
wasn't
right?
being. Yeah, she still needs to check. Mhm.
And so that was people said, okay, Diddy's paying her off to be quiet, and then also, the other thing was like, well, just because okay, we always talk about the legacy of the artist, right? Just
Mhm.
because all these terrible things have been revealed and all of this, does that take away from the story? I
Mhm.
don't know.
Mhm.
I'm just
Mhm.
saying the timing, girl. I'm gonna say, in theory, yeah, I don't think that your story is your story. Now all this abuse and terrible stuff that he's doing is now a part of his is concretely before it was rumors, but now this is concretely, without a doubt, a part of his story, right?
Mhm.
Does that take away his story in creating Bad Boy and his rise to fame? No, objectively, no. But girl, I mean, read the room or now,
She
and I
didn't read
would.
the room. She didn't read
She
it.
didn't read the room.
Mm-mm.
She didn't read the room, or that. I don't know if that was a part of her contract, but like,
Right?
and
Mhm.
so it was funny. I thought of that, and the reason I'm just bringing this up. Normally, I wouldn't bring it up because I'm not. I'm like, I don't care to hear about anything about Didi until he actually goes to court for anything. But she is supposedly in the midst of about to release a book.
Mhm.
And so that's why when I saw the news of her about to release a book, I went back to thinking of that
Mhm.
post I saw earlier in the week.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, her story is going to be she made a post, and in the post she said, my life story, my experience beside every bad boy was a bad gal. So she's saying, I cannot erase the history and cultural impact. This is also our legacy. Every single person whose blood, sweat, and tears, talent, and business acumen went into this movement. Were you not entertained? Were you not inspired? By the way, I had Justin at 19. I had just turned 20 years old 7 days later. For a while, the internet had my age wrong. I said, hey, leave it. Stop believing everything on the internet. And then that's the part. So so now I went back to see that was actually the book announcement. I mean, hey, I won't lie. I'll be curious what she has in there. And she actually, in her own right, to me, he was one of the ladies in his life who I would say, like Mary, had a lot of cultural influence in the bad boy movement. She was a
Mhm.
stylist. She was a stylist to a lot of the videos. She was a fly girl. She was always fly, but she was also dressing all the people in the bad boy roster, men and women.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that look, those iconic looks, from Mary to Total to whoever, she was
Mhm.
involved. And so I want to hear her story even outside of Diddy. I mean,
Mhm.
Diddy is probably going to be the loquacious and the stuff that's going to sell or bring a lot of attention.
Mhm.
But I'm actually very curious about her life outside of Diddy.
Well, I'm curious if she likes her life as it is, because everybody who has ever tried to write a book ended up 6 feet under.
But she's doing this with him. I think this
Well,
isn't
then
like
it's not really a book that I want to entertain,
mhm,
because you're not telling the full truth.
no.
And I think the last almost 30 years of not telling the full truth about Diddy and Bad Boy and all of the rest, like at this point, unless you're telling the truth, I don't want to hear it. So I think, she did the right move in terms of plugging Diddy around her book, because he's a big topic right now. She's not specifically saying what she'll address about him. She's
Mhm.
leaving it to the listener and viewers, imagination. So she's, kind of she wants us to be intrigued with her
Yeah.
book. And
Yeah.
if Diddy had any part of it, then it's a bunch of crock. Okay? It's a bunch of crock. And so I'm not gonna really pay attention to that. And Misa, the check did clear, didn't it? It did clear. Because why hadn't you said anything about a developing book before now? Why?
I mean, I don't follow her enough. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she did.
And
I
if
don't know.
most people probably don't care because Misa, your influence is there. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna take away, what you did. You did influence the culture, but that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. The culture has changed significantly. Significantly. It's not where it was. So I don't know how well this book will do if it
Mhm.
wasn't around Diddy, you know?
Yeah, he has to be. Well, I mean, a lot of her success is tied to Diddy, so he has to be. She has to
Right?
talk about. Yeah.
But she's also a mother. She's an
Yeah.
author. She's a
Mhm.
fashion icon. There's a
Yep.
lot that we could hear about Misa, but let's just keep it a buck. Nobody would care. Nobody would care.
I mean, I
So,
don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
well, we'll see. But now we can't really tell because you've already dropped the name. You've already dropped that Diddy has something to do with it. So people are going to be intrigued enough to want to buy the book, right? But once they start getting out reviews that, maybe if the book has not much to do with Diddy and more about, I'm just saying it might tank. It might
I
tank the
think
book.
here's a scenario. I think that you're trying to. Here's a scenario. I think in what you're saying, I could see being people writing her off is like if it feels like if she's like glossing over or she's trying to
Yeah,
sugarcoat the situation with Diddy, people will see that right away. So I hope she has sense now. Even if she was doing that, she can't do that no more. Like, might as well give us a little something, something. You can't maybe
that's the
because
thing. You have
right?
to.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, but anybody who tried to ended up dead.
yeah,
So like, how good can your book really be? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the only way to get the interest is by dropping Diddy's name or by doing stupid posts like this.
mm,
You know, you want to get people's attention, right? And to be quite honest, the whole bad boy movement is being debunked in front of us.
mm-hmm,
So unless you're joining the pack to debunk the bad boy, legacy, people don't want to know. Like, I just don't think Misa understands that this is a different time. This is different. This is a different time. People are tired of Diddy and his nonsense.
yeah. So that's why I think I again we don't I don't know how she's gonna go about this. I
Yeah,
mean,
she has
I
to be
thought
very tactful.
she has to be very tactful, especially with all the. She might have to go back and look at some of those paragraphs. That's all I gotta
And
say.
I'll be honest, what are you going to talk about? Your son Justin?
No, but I
Really?
mean, I think she has a lot to talk about. That's like to her
She
point. I think.
probably does. That's the thing, is that she probably has, she's a fountain of knowledge. She
Mm-hmm,
has been around the longest. Out of all of Diddy's women, she's
mm-hmm,
been around the longest.
mm-hmm,
So you understand what I'm saying? But if you're gonna try to sugarcoat stuff or not talk about certain things, people want to know what you know about what happened from 20 odd almost 30 years ago.
mm-hmm,
They want to know not so much about, oh, your family life with Diddy and Justin. They want to know, were you getting beat too? They want to
mm-hmm,
know the salacious stuff. Let's keep it a buck. Nobody wants to. You are tied to a name, right? Where unfortunately it dims your light.
mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to know about Misa. They
I
want to
do.
know about Misa with Diddy.
I want to know about Misa.
Well, I knew about Misa. I saw her career. We saw her career over the years.
But like
We also saw her
the
face
inside,
change.
yeah, and all of that. Every all of that. But anyway, she has a book coming out, and we
Yes.
shall see what she anchors it around.
Yes. It'll be interesting.
All right,
Yeah.
so we'll just jump into our. We weren't going to do this segment, but listen, breaking news. All right,
Breaking news,
and
people.
in the breaking news, we want to know what Gwan for real with the breaking news of Trump
They're coming for you, man.
getting shot at his rally today. Literally today, we record Saturday, July 17th. Sorry, 13th.
Breaking
And
news.
yeah, he was at a rally today in Pennsylvania, and I saw the video where he's just talking, and then you hear some sounds, some like pop pop sounds, some very light. They weren't heavy, some very light pop 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 sounds, and then he puts his hand behind his ear, and then he kind of like pauses, and then that's when the Secret Service came in. Secret Service is kind of slow if you ask me, but anyway, Secret Service
Mm-hmm.
came in and told him to duck, and now I didn't see it. It's now they're releasing photos of the blood coming down his ear and his face. They're saying that his right ear was pierced. I personally think uh, this book. I don't know what kind of bullets. I don't. I'm not experienced in gun armory or anything, but these were don't seem to be intense bullets. I was like, is it a BB gun? I mean, I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Maybe it was a small. I don't know. But anyway, you're saying as of right now, this shooter is confirmed as being dead, as well as another person, or at least one attendee is also dead.
Hmm.
I don't know if this attendee was hit by accident or if the attendee was also a part of it or whatever and they got licked. But one attendee is passed away, on top of the shooter being so-called suspected shooter being dead as well. Trump was admitted in hospital, and I think you're saying that he's fine, but yeah, your photos of him bleeding do look interesting. But there's also one. There's an icon. You know remember how me and Kim were talking about this, and we're like, obviously we're outside. Okay, there's people who think this is a conspiracy. Or log on for real. Is this
Mm-hmm.
a conspiracy? There's also the part where even if it's not a conspiracy and this was a real attempt from a real
Mm-hmm.
person that had nothing to do with nobody in politics, the party's gonna use this to spin it in their favor.
That's
And
right.
I already saw the money shot. The money shot
Yep.
is
The blood on the
is
face. Mm-hmm.
Trump there surrounded by his Secret Service, blood on the face, fist in the air, looking like a tough guy. I see that's the money shot.
Oh
And the
God.
American flag, part of the American
Right?
flag is in the
Blowing in the
photo as well.
background.
It's blowing in the background. The spin, the PR spin is
Mm-hmm.
in heavy
Mm-hmm.
rotation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is scary because this 2024, people are still in the free world. People
Right?
are
Okay.
assassinating folks
Okay.
again. Is this the 60s?
Right? JFK. Huh?
Like
I don't
and
know
it's
what's going on, but like I said, to use that either side could benefit from this.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't put it past either side.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't. The money shot is gonna go viral. It's gonna go
Oh
all
yeah.
around the damn world. We're gonna see it on every news station you could possibly think of. It's a
Mhm.
picturesque moment, and
Mhm.
I know he got shot, but I'm saying in terms of you know media, that is the perfect picture. Perfect. You
Media is
know what?
salivating at the mouth right now.
What?
Okay.
They can't wait. Okay, this shot, this perfect image, the flag in the background, and I remember even to this day, I wasn't around when JFK got shot,
No,
but
no.
I
Come on.
heard, I
Yeah,
knew
we know the
it
story.
was
Yeah.
big in history. To this day, people still talk about it.
Mhm.
I wouldn't put that past Trump. I wouldn't put that past his campaign, you know, uh,
Yeah.
associates. I wouldn't put it past anybody. I wouldn't even put it past Sleepy Joe. Maybe Sleepy Joe because he's sleeping, right? So maybe Sleepy Joe didn't think of the plan,
He's the only one who's not in the loop.
right? Because he was sleeping. But I think that, you know. The Democrats would definitely. I don't think you can't put it past them, man. Don't put
Hmm.
it past them. So, um, it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. It's going
Yeah,
to
this
the
is
guy
literally the
that
first
what
day.
the guy that was shot, the shooter. We're going to
Hmm.
find out more about
We're
him,
gonna find out more about them. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
any
and
funny business, understand this was plotted. This was organized,
that's what I'm
orchestrated.
leaning towards.
Any
We're
any funny business that just doesn't make no goddamn sense, it was plotted. That's all I got to say about that.
people have
America.
been associating have people for some brevity. Some people have been associating it with the Juicy Smollett. He's like taking notes from Juicy
Right?
Smollett. Juicy
Juicy
Smollett.
Juicy set the foundation, you know, see.
This is some juicy behavior.
Right? Sure did. He set the foundation, the blueprint. But you know what? We do hope that Mr. Trump's because
Yeah,
you were shot out. It looked like real blood. We don't know what's
yeah.
good.
We don't know
Um,
what's good. Yeah, it's
but you look
crazy.
like you were shot, and we hope that you do heal soon.
Yeah.
And you might want to amp up the security. That's all I gotta say. They were moving like snails. You need to
Mhm.
amp up that security. I
Yeah,
don't know what's going on with
that's
security.
another reason why I'm like, is this for real? Like from the first shot, I should have seen a Secret Service up there. Like, what the heck?
Like
Anyway.
I just remember, being a young child, and I saw security, and whenever security moved, they just seemed to move so fast and operate so quick. But as of late, like the whole security industry, wake the hell up. How is it that Will Smith could get on the stage and slap Chris Rock? How is it that you can't go to a concert without people throwing stuff at the talent? Where the hell is the security when Mr. Trump is being shot? Like, I just feel like the whole, security industry needs a wake up. Okay, like, hello. But anyhow, we're gonna move on from that, and we're gonna get into the call
The
outs.
call out.
Yes, and so we're gonna put each other in the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question that I have today: do you live by any words of wisdom? I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember growing up, my mom always used to tell me, "Don't lie to yourself. You can lie to the world, but don't lie to yourself."
Yeah.
Right? And growing up, I was like, this woman's crazy. I don't know what she's saying. How do you lie to yourself, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then I grew up and I realized what she's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I live by that. You can lie to the world, but you need to tell yourself the truth. And
Mm-hmm.
if you think you're lying to yourself, you're really not. You're playing tricks on your brain, but you can never lie to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so even in life, if something comes up, I can either choose to tell myself, oh no, that's not really happening, or I can face the reality, right?
Yeah.
And so it's something that I live by all the time, and I literally live by that. Like, don't lie to yourself. Like, if you know, even if it's in a moral situation, right, where my morals have to jump in play now,
Mm-hmm.
do I see it and walk away, or do I see it and do something? Now, if you go by these words of wisdom, don't lie to yourself. Walking away, I'd have to lie to myself. I'd have to
Mm-hmm.
lie to myself that I'm not seeing what I'm seeing
Mm-hmm.
in order for me to walk away, right? Or you have to tell yourself that it's not important, or that you can't help, or that your help is not going to work, or whatever lie you make up in order for yourself to walk away, in order for you to ignore the morals that you have, right? So I that's something for me, words of wisdom that my mama gave me that I live by to this day. So are there any words of
Yeah.
wisdom that you live by?
Um, this is a hard one because I'm sure there's plenty, but I can't rack up the brain power. But I think one is that I can recall is like you can't live for anybody else. You have to live for yourself.
Amen.
So that is, whatever that goes for anybody or anything or any job. uh, when you're making decisions about your life, or what to do, or who to engage with, or
Mhm.
where to invest your money or put your energy, it has to be, you need to speak to yourself. You need to be true to what is right with you, and what is won't cause you turmoil, or bring you
Mhm.
distress or whatever, right? And so, sometimes, particularly even as women, we might always have a tendency to focus on everybody but ourselves. But
Mhm.
to me, I think living for yourself, in whatever that means, like in making decisions or whatever, is really important. You come first, pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, well, that was my question. I want to try to keep it uh short and sweet. But
Yeah.
so what's your question then?
Well, I was gonna have a basic bitch question, but in recent developments, there's a lot of breaking news today. I forgot. Have you seen that video circulating with Michael Ealy greeting Megan Good in front of Jonathan Majors?
Yeah, and he was being salty. Like, go sit down, sir. Go sit down
So
someplace.
it was so funny. So here's the question. So let's put ourselves as ladies. Let's put ourselves in Megan's shoes,
Mhm.
right? And so where you're with your boyfriend or husband, and somebody who you haven't seen in a long time, you both know of as a couple, whether it's a friend, we're not
Mhm.
celebrities, I'm putting in a real life scenario, or somebody maybe way way back you may have
Mhm.
dated, or had a little crush
Mhm.
on,
Mhm.
and they are very visibly still looking slim and trim and proper,
Mhm. Fabulous. Mhm.
start looking good, still looking good how you remember them, and
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
and so what do you do as a lady, like, if it like when it's like, do you try and kind of curb that extra attention?
Mhm.
So people, if you don't, let me set it up. People, we're talking about the clip where, I don't know if they're at a movie premiere or whatever.
Mhm.
They're at an event. So it's Jonathan Majors and his Coretta Scott King, Megan Good. and they're just greeting some people, and Michael Ealy comes, and he hugs Megan Good with a grunt. I have to say, I'm sorry, there's a groan and a grunt, like "Arr!" Like he does something
Mhm.
like that, and he lifts her off her feet. Okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
And Jonathan Major's
Was
face.
like, you better listen,
You,
sir,
sorry.
sir.
Um, so as a woman, obviously there's a lot of the social media is like getting pure jokes off of this, but as a woman, if you see the hug come, okay, the hug is one thing, but once
Mm-mm.
you can tell when a man is going to lift you up. So the minute I'm thinking, do I kind of ease a hand on the arm to be like, okay, chill, 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 like you need to chill a little bit, because this man, I have to deal with this man after I go home with this man. Like,
Right?
I'm not trying to hear
The same
nothing.
one that just came off of an assault charge. But anyway,
Yeah, so I
right?
like, chill, chill.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do the chill, chill, chill thing to settle that lift?
Mm-mm.
Or do you just let
Mm-mm.
it happen and look back at your
Mm-mm.
man with his salty face? Because
Salty to blood clot.
I'll just say
Um,
me. I'll start. I'll give you a
yeah,
moment.
go ahead, go ahead.
Me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I could feel. You could usually feel when somebody's going to lift you.
Right?
I'd have been like, nah, nah, don't. Let's not do all that now. I would have did the. I'd have been like, ah, ha, ha, arm on the bicep. Put me down. Don't even do any lifting business right now, because it's like too much. It's like the hug is enough. The grow and everything. I already was
Mm-hmm.
a little too excited to greet you. Let's let that lift. I'd have to cut it down at the lift,
Right?
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, to answer your question, it's a two-part answer. First, know your man. Please,
Yeah,
ladies,
yeah, know your man.
don't
Yeah.
take your man nowhere if you don't know him. Okay? Please and thanks. No, for real, for real. Like, know your
That's true.
man.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Okay? Like, if you know your man is, doesn't like certain things, you got to adjust how you greet people. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
I'm
That's what I said.
sorry. Girl, you could have just, you could have stuck out the hand a little farther. You could have, put your purse there so so it's harder for him to do stuff. You could have done a whole lot of things. You know, now when I look back at Major's face, he was trying desperately not to come off as jealous and upset, but you could see the irritation, right? So that's why it's important to know your man. And in knowing your man, you know how you need to address other men. So, if you know your man doesn't like you to be lifted off no ground, guess what, girl? You need to adjust how you greet people. Okay? First and foremost. Second part to my answer is, if your man is not a jealous type, that doesn't mean that you should allow those behaviors. Now, he was being very genuine. He wasn't trying to do anything. He has his own situation going on. There was nothing, it was very harmless. It was a
Yes.
harmless type of situation, right?
Yeah.
Um However,
Know your man.
know your man.
As harmless as it was,
Know your
don't get me
man.
wrong.
Know your man. Because guess what?
He was
You
he
could
was
have put that situation, she could have totally changed how
yes.
that all went down.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
She could have totally changed it. And if you look at the video, because I watched it more than once, I watched it
Of
about three
course.
times because I was trying to catch his face in the back,
His
right?
face in the back was
And his
cracking me up.
stink look like he wanted to knock this guy out, right? Okay. In knowing your man, you know how you should address somebody. So
Yes.
if that means that he doesn't like when you're too up and up
Hmm.
and up in things, then you have to kind of be more reserved.
Hmm.
Or you have to allow your man to initiate
Yeah,
whatever.
so to that point, they're saying, so that's in the comments, people are saying supposedly there's footage where he dapped, because what is funny about the video is like he has this big enthusiastic greeting for Megan, and then he goes to dap up another dude, but he doesn't dap up Jonathan. But they're
Do you
saying
see
that,
the problem?
but wait, they're saying the people who, there is footage, the earlier footage shows that he already greeted Jonathan. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna
I
actually
didn't
look
see
for
no
it.
damn footage. They focused on her being picked up off the ground, okay? So
So they're saying before the clip, there's a longer clip. I haven't seen it, people, but I'm gonna look for it. I'll verify that he greeted Jonathan first
then
earlier.
you need to,
Then
as a woman who's letting her man be the like letting your man orchestrate that, right?
mhm,
You should take more of a stand back. You let them dap up, you
mhm.
know, maybe you need to dap up. Follow your man's lead. If your man is not giving him, because you know how some mans them hug, they'll
Yeah.
pull each other in when they're dapping
Mhm.
up or whatever.
Yeah.
That shows, like with men, it's a respect thing, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
if he's willing to do that with him, then it's a good indication that it's okay for you to be like that with him because he trusts the guy, or he has a relationship with him, or he has an understanding with him, or he's not threatened by him,
Mhm.
right? This guy right here, the guy, what's he from? What's that actor from? Where's he from?
Mike,
With the
people always remember he always plays a
pretty
villain.
eyes. What's his name?
Michael Ealy. That he people always remember him for throwing those kids off the balcony in that Tyler Perry movie about that book, something rainbow, something something. But he's done a bunch of roles. He
He's
always plays a
he's
villain.
he and he and he's a very attractive man,
Yes, his eyes, yeah, light skin energy.
right? Right. And so I think you should have let your man kind of lead that interaction. And I would suggest for women in general, when it has to come to you interacting with a man while your man is there, let your man be the one that dictates how you should move with another man present. So if he's kind of dapping up, we shouldn't be allowing him to lift me off ground, right? Like, I'm not saying that you have to dap up like a man, but
Mm.
your interaction shouldn't be so close. He's lifting you off of a ground. That means that he's not just embracing you, he's squeezing you. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I dropped the lift was dirty for me. The hug, all that extraness was I can go.
right? And
But
so
the
when I
lift,
saw it 3 times, there was a pause. There was a pause before he lifted her off the ground.
that's what I'm saying. That's where my arm had to control the situation.
And
That's where
that's
I,
where I would have been like, okay, we done hugging now.
yeah, yeah. Do their little polite
Right?
pat,
My man
the
did a
polite.
two dops. Why am I hugging for all 3-4 minutes? Like what the hell is going on here? Do you see how your man has to run that show? If you're gonna respect your man, right, and you
Mm-hmm,
love him and you want to show him that your allegiance is to him, because men are very
mm-hmm,
big on that
mm-hmm.
loyalty thing. So in that situation, if he's dapping up, you shouldn't be getting lifted off a ground. You don't have to dap up, but you could do a side hug. What happened to the side hug? You know, the Christian hug from the
I mean, the
side?
man did, but come on, Kimmy. You saw the way Michael Ealy ran up on her.
Okay, but why is he running up? This is the thing, right?
Why are we doing all
Why
this?
are we doing all this? And that's why you got to know your man. That's why you got to know your man. And the second part of that question is you kind of have to let your man dictate how you should operate around other men.
Mm-hmm,
Whether that's right, wrong, or in between. If you want to take a very, feminist perspective on that, kudos to you. But I'll tell you one thing, you're going to be arguing with men a lot because men don't like, they're very territorial, right?
mm-hmm.
You are his woman. So just the simple fact that another man is picking you up off the ground, right? It doesn't
And that's
sit
not your
right.
daddy.
It doesn't sit right. Okay? He
Like,
obviously knows that you're not a virgin. You're not
mm-hmm.
pure. You've been married.
Yeah.
You're making good. Look at you, girl. Shit.
Mm-hmm,
He knows better.
mm-hmm.
However, you got to have him feel secure. And his face said he was not secure.
Nope. His
Okay?
face was
His
like
face
his
said,
cameras running around.
bitch, what you doing in this man's arms? That's what his look said to me. Because I
he
looked
was
3 times. I looked 3 times at that look.
he was not
He was
pleased.
not happy. But you know what? In his position, right, he can't really
He can't
express
do
those
he can't
emotions
not
because
even a
then it
little
will
bit.
play into what has happened that he's
Yeah,
trying to show.
exactly. So even extra more so he needs to like control he needs I mean I kudos to him. It was just in his face and his eyebrow where I could see that I could see I was like that eyebrow was stirring. I was like
That
but yeah,
eyebrow was up like, you better put her down. What in the hell is this woman
what's
doing?
up?
What is she doing? Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So that was my question. We both agreed that we'd have to kind of control that. So you're not going to let him do all that in front of your man because you just know your man's going to feel
And you know what?
away.
Just a side note, and then I'm gonna go into the workout. But so, and it is kind of goes into the work. But anyways, okay, I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have a baby father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I have a baby father, right? Okay, and I've always, I always get anxiety about them meeting
Mm-hmm.
because they've never met. They
Mm-hmm.
know about each other. They've heard each other's voices. They've even spoke to each other once or twice. Me and my husband have been together for 9 years. So once or
Mm-hmm.
twice over 9 years, right? So they're not friends. Okay. They are two different men. And one of my biggest anxieties is what the hell am I going to do when they're both face to face?
Mm.
Like, I'll give you an example. Say Faith graduates from, not say, when my daughter graduates from high school, okay, they're, well, maybe they might both be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the common denominator. I'm sorry, it doesn't sit well with me. I don't know how some women do it. I really don't. How you can have multiple baby fathers and them all be in their children's lives and all come together for these multiple children. So
Mhm.
you as a woman are sitting in a room and you might have three baby fathers that are all there, and you have your current man. It's the most awkward position that you could possibly be in, I feel.
Mm.
I don't like attention. Jeanette knows me with that. I run from attention. You understand what I'm telling you? I run the other direction from attention. So to
Mhm.
be in that situation, that's a lot of attention that I wouldn't know how to process. Like I wouldn't even know how to deal with that. So
Mhm.
for her, if she had any, Megan Good had any romantic relationship with this guy, in the past, I think it would have been inappropriate if your man knows that you had some sort of relationship and here's this guy picking you off a ground and all sorts of things. I couldn't imagine it myself. I know me and my baby father were nowhere near that. He would never even look at me in the wrong way, but it's just being in an uncomfortable situation,
Yeah.
right? That I have anxiety about, and my husband's not a pushover and he's a big boy, he's a big
Mhm.
guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And my baby father says slick shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I feel like if I'm ever in that situation, I wouldn't know what the hell I'm supposed to do. But
Mhm.
I do know my man. And I do
Mhm.
know I ain't giving nobody no damn hug up in this. Nobody is touching me in this bitch. Okay. There's no
Yeah.
way. But anyway, I'm just thinking because whenever I see things like this, I always think to myself, what if I were in this situation? Like, how would I really handle this? How would it?
Yeah. That's why
And
I asked.
really and
Because
truly,
everybody's
how?
on her. Everybody's on her. It's like a joke. It's a joke and
Yeah.
whatever. But everybody's still kind of like on her. Like everybody's kind of like, if
Right?
basically the tone is he has every right to be vexed
Yeah.
with Megan right now. And I'm like, but what is she supposed to do? But like we said, that's why I asked that question. She didn't have a lot of leeway, but she did have a couple of options.
She had a couple of options and I think she should have explored them. But I think sometimes Megan gets off for being a very, maybe naive, almost, very innocent type of
Yeah.
person. And so I really don't think she had any, like,
No,
I don't think
me
she did
too.
anything wrong, but I think
Nope.
she should have chose some other options.
Hmm.
Know your man. Girl, know your man. You should have done learned about him while you sat down with him for months on end in trial. So know your man. But anyways, you know what? Good for you guys. Good for you, because if I was in that position, we would be dapping too. There's no hugs going on. We dapping too. If my man is dapping, I'm dapping. That's what we doing. Okay. I'm not trying to hear that on the drive home. Thanks. But speaking of some more jokes, okay, let's move into our topic for the workout.
The workout.
Yes, this is where, we have to exercise our hearts and our mental fitness here in deep dive discussions that we have that affect our community. And in this case, unfortunately, this does affect our community way too much, if you ask me. So the topic is this video that has been going around the internet. In these internet streets, everybody has been watching this barbershop video of this emotional co-parenting situation. So let me set up the situation for those who might not have seen it. I don't know how, but let me set it up. So we're at a black barbershop, dominantly black men with their children or with their sons or daughters or whatever at this black barber. And so we see this young little boy. He looked like maybe between the ages of 6 to 8. And he's in the barber chair getting his hair cut. And off to the side is this little boy's biological father and his stepfather. Well, the biological father is going nuts. He's going crazy in the barbershop against the stepfather. Now, the stepfather brought his stepson to get his haircut. Well, it's at a barbershop that I guess is popular, and Yeah, biological is there, and he's saying, I told you not to get my son's haircut. You're not supposed to bring him to the barber. He's carrying on, throwing the largest tantrum that an adult can have, right? In the barbershop, calling him all sorts of names, saying all of this, and then at the end of it, he rips the little boy right out of the barber chair. In this situation, the step parent was doing what they thought was right for the little boy. Now, there's a
Did they?
caption.
Oh, sorry. Go.
There was a
Sorry. Go
little bit
ahead.
of a caption on the video. I guess it's from the baby mother, who
Hmm.
states, I've been asking you to do this. I've been asking you to take your son to the barber. I think it
Damn.
was 3 weeks. The
Hmm.
child, we've been asking you to get the child's haircut. Oh no, we can't get the child's haircut. So the stepfather and the mother go get the child's haircut. The biological father sees this and loses his shit. Why? So we're gonna dive into this topic of this co-parenting and this emotional nonsense from this man. He literally threw a tantrum because his son was getting his haircut, and not only did he go that far, but he snatched him out of the seat. And it's like, for what? You didn't want to do it. You didn't want to do it. You've been badgering this biological father, and he doesn't want to do it. So somebody else took it upon themselves to help your son, and this is how you carry on? Well, let's go into this topic. Because there's many a situation, unfortunately, in our community of single mothers, and I at one point was one. And stepfathers, I think, are the ones that actually care, the ones that
Hmm.
are there not just for the mother, but actually take a liking and a love to the child. They are a godsend.
Of course.
They are a godsend. And I think it's a very it's a noble position to take as a stepfather. And I want to extend it to stepmothers. It's a noble position to still mother a child even though they're not yours, right?
Hmm.
And so in this situation, a lot of people had a lot of things to say. Some people are siding with the biological father, some people are siding with stepdad, right? And a lot of people are also saying that stepfathers are stupid, that they're simps, that they're this, that they're that they're idiots, that there's no gain for them in that position. And I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Um, this whole game called life, right? This whole game called life. There's only a few things in your life that will really bring you a lot of joy, right? There's only a
Yeah.
few. And one of them, I think, is a child.
Hmm.
So you decided not to care for this child, and somebody else sees where they can step in and be there for your child, and that's how you behave. Before you say to yourself, I'm thankful that this man cares enough about my child to step in the gap. I feel as though, stepfathers get this bad name attached to them, but really and truly, it's the stepfathers that are rewarded the most. I'll give an example. Shaq. If you look at Shaq, the basketball player, he talks openly about his life, right? And he talks about when he was young, his mom was a single mom, got married to his stepfather,
Hmm.
and his stepfather raised him better than his own father. To the
Hmm.
point where Shaq said, I don't use step. That's my dad.
Hmm.
That's the man that raised me. That's the one that put morals in me. That's the one that went to basketball games. That's the one. Right. Now, does Shaq know his father? He talks about that too. He knows his biological father, and he doesn't respect him. It's not like he has any ill will towards him
Hmm.
anymore because he had a father to raise him. So he's not resentful towards his biological father. He doesn't want nothing to do with him, really. you know? And so who gets to reap the benefit? The stepfather. I have never come across a situation of that I've heard where there's a stepfather present that's doing what they're supposed to do, that's loving the child and help bringing up the child, where that child turns around, gets big, and says, "My stepfather was the worst person in the world."
No, ever. No.
Never in history. So I don't understand where this perspective comes from. So let's talk about it because this is working my mental fitness right here. This is this right
Mhm.
here. Because when I saw this man carrying on like a damn fool in the barbershop and then drapes up his son, I was like, are you serious? There are actually people on this loser side?
Right? So, yeah, to your point. So, what Kim is saying is that in this incident, and I think another parallel I'll draw where there are men online who say, and I can only speak for black men because that's what I know. I know black
Mm
men. So I won't put this on all men. I'll put it on black. I'll limit to what I know, which is black men.
hmm. Mm
And they always, so they were saying like, oh, some people are actually on the side of the parent of that guy, the biological
hmm. Mm
father,
hmm.
who was causing a scene in the barbershop and being aggressive and violent towards the stepfather and carrying on and eventually like literally lifting his kid out of the seat. But there are people who think that a stepfather is a simp or a beta for doing that role, and in this case because um you know they feel like a biological father has all the rights, right? Let's say he has a biological father is supposed to be the he's the guy.
Mm
But if
hmm.
you're not stepping up, and so when we talked about the story, I automatically thought
Mm
of
hmm.
Sierra
Mm
and
hmm.
Russell and how everybody's
Mm-hmm.
always
Taught the
down.
truth. Taught the truth.
Everybody's always talking about Russell being soft and Future with his little jabs about Russell and he's a square, he's that, and like how could you look down on a man who is taking care of a child and loving a child, like especially when the biological father isn't there? I think the
Right?
story completely changes
Mm-hmm.
if there's like some type of blockage with the relationship with the biological father or something.
Mm-hmm.
But at
Mm-hmm.
most, in these two examples in particular, we know both of these parents were not doing, these dads were not doing what they're supposed to do.
That's right.
And that is being an active father in your child's life. So
Mm-hmm.
if a woman now finds a partner who is willing to love her and love her child as he should,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing what he needs to do to help her with the kid,
Mm-hmm.
she needs help. And one of those things is grooming your son. I don't.
Hello.
You don't want to go to the
Right?
barbecue. That's what I
Okay.
have a man. My man's gonna take him to the barber. Whoever, right? If his father's not gonna take him, my man will. What's
And
wrong with
he
that?
did.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, to the men who were on the comments saying, "Oh, da 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 da," who, why did he? He clearly went to take to the kid to the barber because his woman told him to take the kid to the barber.
And he was
There's
willing to
nothing.
do it.
He's willing to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, the mother hopped under the comments and said, "I asked him to take him to the barber for weeks."
Okay.
So your kid is supposed to be walking around looking reggae.
Shabby and just because you don't want to do it?
No. And so even if he's upset, and I can understand, listen, I don't have a kid, but I could still understand it would hurt as a parent, um, for another person to step in a role that you feel like you're supposed to be filling or that you think you're filling in some imaginary world, and that this person did this, but you would need to look at yourself in the mirror.
Amen.
You're looking at this man and other man and your ex and your baby mother and getting upset and emotional and creating a scene
Mm-hmm.
when you need to be looking in the mirror and getting emotional upset with yourself
That's right.
because your neglect led to this.
But and to piggyback off of what you just said, the reason why he's giving that emotional response
Hmm.
is because internally he knows that he has failed.
Yes, yes. That's all. That's what the tantrum
That's
is
what the
for. And
tantrum was,
hmm
right? Is that he could realize I failed. And not only did I fail, but this guy showed me up.
exactly.
And you can't, your ego is too large. It's larger than the flippin' barber shop where you think that your feelings trump your child's needs.
Mm, no, wrong direction, there, dude.
You look like, you know what the saddest part is when you take a look at this video, because again, I watched this video a couple times, right? And the stepfather and the child had more maturity and
Mm-hmm.
level-headedness than the father,
Oh, of course,
because that stepfather could have knocked him the hell out, but he showed reserve.
he restraint. He had a lot of restraint.
What?
He
He
had his
was up
phone
in
out.
his face.
Yeah, the guy was in his face. He was pushing up on him, but all he did is calmly. He got his phone out. He called his girlfriend
Right?
and
She's
was
like,
like,
he's like, at
"Listen,
one point he's like, let's just settle this.
yeah,
Let me just settle this. Let me call up this girl right here. You know what I'm saying? Because
exactly."
I'm not trying to catch a case in this barbershop right here. You know what I'm saying? But it was so sad to see that the child was more reserved and more in control of their emotion sitting in the barber seat
Yeah, he was just looking at his
than the
dad.
father was.
Yeah, he was just looking at his dad like, "What is this
Are
fool
you
doing?"
doing? Can I get this haircut? The kids at school are making fun of me. Okay, like you weeks in the child is head top knee fit cut and you don't want it. Here's my thing, right? And I speak from a position of I've been there, you know, and with my baby father, there's times where he thinks that his rights trump everybody. But you
Mm.
see, I think rights are earned.
Yep.
You don't just
Not
automatically get it because you have the same you have, you know, similar blood characteristics. Like
no, but like you said, what the saying is, yeah, um, right? You know, you have your rights, but it's a privilege. There's a privilege as well.
it
There's
is
a
a privilege.
yeah.
It is a privilege, you know. And here's my thing that it's harder for me to understand this part is how do you walk away? How do you walk away? How does a man walk away? And then not only walk away, but expect everybody to be upon your time.
Mm.
This woman has a man in her life who was willing to do what she needed for her son. Why are you upset because it didn't happen the way you wanted it to? Well, I mean, that's simple. How about you be an active and involved parent? You
Yeah.
know? If you're going to be that upset that another man is doing something that you should have done, then you should make sure that you are on top of it. But you don't. So there's this entitledness that even sometimes I deal with my baby father, is that he thinks that just because he's her father, that we are to be full access to him whenever he feels like. So when the wind blows and his spirit starts to rattle in his body and he
Yeah.
feels like compelled to be a parent, he'll call that day. Well, guess what? We have a life. So we might not be around for when you're fixing and ready. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And there's many a times where I'm hearing all this talk from him, and I'm thinking to myself, did you expect her life to stop when you hung up the phone? And is her life only of value to answer your call? Like, who the hell do you think you are? Like, for real, for real. You know
And
what
that's
I'm
what we were
saying?
talking about, the rights and privilege of a parent. The rights and privilege of a parent, and especially as a father, because mothers don't really have a choice.
There's
Unless you're
none.
mentally not capable, mothers don't have a choice. A
None at
mother
all.
is intrinsically, even if she doesn't naturally have it, or naturally supposed to have it, but even if she doesn't, the expectation of
Yep.
all the whole world and society
That's
is
right.
she is the sole, she is responsible for the care of her child at all times, all the time, whatever, whatever, partner or no partner, right? And so
Jeanette,
why
have you
does
ever heard when a child gets in trouble, what is the first thing that they'll turn to? Most
yeah,
people, when a child gets in trouble, they say, "Where's his mother?
mm-hmm,
Where's the mother of that child?"
mm-hmm,
So, as a mother, I have a responsibility that most men couldn't even possibly fathom. Okay?
yep,
So, for you to turn around and willingly and willfully walk away,
mm,
keep it pushing.
yeah,
Because
and
if you
don't,
think that you're going to turn back around when your soul gets rattled because you want to
mm,
pretend like now you have rights as a parent,
mm,
you have to understand you're going to face situations like this often. Because why should that mother for the next 18 years not be involved with anybody, not have love in her life, and even for your child to have an example of a male
mm,
around
yeah,
them, right?
yep,
So we should go with all without all of that because of your ego. Miss me with it.
mm,
You acted, and I wanted to point out that your son, who was a little boy, was acting with more sense than you were. And you was a grown ass man. So,
hmm.
can you imagine what that mother of that child has had to deal with?
Oh God, the
And
way he was
furthermore,
acting out.
raising
Mhm.
children is no easy feat. It is stressful enough. Price of food is sky damn high. Okay? Everything around you is a stressor. I don't need your ass coming to stress me out. I asked you, I gave you the choice, I gave you the right initially. You're the one that declined it. So what? He shouldn't have a haircut? He should just he should just grow locks now because you don't want to take him to the barber? No, it doesn't work like that. So we can see that in this situation he was being very much a child, very immature. And the fact that there's a commentary about this stepfather is just disgusting to me. The only thing that we should be saying is bigging up that man.
Yep,
The only thing that should be coming out of anybody's mouth is that that man deserves respect.
yep,
Even the people who agree with this fool over here should also be able to turn and say, "But you lucky you got a good stepdaddy, though."
right.
But we don't hear that conversation, right? Because if it were the opposite, where the mother found a half assed bum on the street who ain't doing shit to help her or your son, you'd have something to say, though.
You're right.
So she's damned if she do, and
She
she
can't
damned if
win
she
either
don't.
way. You're right. She can't win either way.
All right. So guess what? I'm going to do what I want to do. And obviously, the mother of your child still has some sense intact where she finds a man who is willing to be kind to your son.
Hmm.
What's the problem?
What is the point? That's the best you can hope for.
I don't see
That
what the
is
problem is.
literally the best you can hope for.
Because would you rather him be in a situation where his stepdad was beating him? Ask yourself that question. While you're going on running around the damn shop like a damn fool, ask yourself that question. Would I prefer that this man be hitting my son or take him to a barber? Like, keep it a buck. But we see that it had nothing to do with the child, and most times
No.
it has nothing to do with the child. Most times it has to do with their pride and their ego, okay? And their need to have control in the situation. And when they are without control, we see situations like this. And it's really disgusting that there are people out here who are even siding with him.
Mm. And I think all those people, most likely men, most all men, really,
Mhm.
let's be honest, are all probably men in that scenario or have been in that scenario where they felt like shit because they felt they were not doing what they were supposed to do, and their baby mother was like, you know, put a mirror to their face. And so it's probably triggering for men that were similar to him in some shape or form, And so that's why I feel like the men who are on Future's side, the men who would side with this arrogant biological father in the story we're talking about, are men who have also probably at some point in their life been who waived their rights, so to say, and are butt hurt because somebody else stepped in and made them look like shit.
Well, there's a simple solution for that.
Right?
Very simple. It's actually the most simple answer in this situation. Be there.
Be there.
That's all. Be there. She shouldn't have to ask you to get your son's hair cut, because it should be a weekly thing that you do with your son. I don't know. It's a very simple equation. However, a lot of men don't want to see that.
Accountability. We were talking about this. Remember,
Yes.
you posed a good question, which I think we can kind of put a bow on this with. Is
Mhm.
what is the difference between two men? Because we were saying, why are men like this? Why would you waive the
Mhm.
right? It's your child is a blessing, whether you're with your mother or not, right? And why would you waive your right to have influence over your own child? Why would you waive your right and kind of pretty much give up your spot for somebody else? Because there's lots of people who have step parent and their biological
Mhm.
parent, they have something, they still have equal influence.
That's
But
right.
why obviously this is not the case in these examples that we're talking about, but why would and we're talking about, there's two men, say they were talking about two
That's right.
brothers, and both brothers unfortunately were grown lived in or not through circumstance, grew up in a single parent household with their mother, and maybe father wasn't really around a lot or wasn't very consistent, right? And on one hand, usually most young men will say, even if they don't end up doing it, but when you grow up, they
Mhm.
say, yes, I don't want, when I have my kids, I'm never leaving them. Even if I break up with their mom,
Yeah.
I'm always going to be around for them, because they know how it felt not having their dad around, right?
Exactly.
And so, but then you also see that one of those brothers that both probably said in their heart they would never want to do this to their own kids, grow up, and one keeps that promise and he stays, make sure he's around for
Mhm.
his kids, he sticks around, he's very involved with their lives, and the other one is just falls into that generational pattern. And Kim posed the question of, why, how is that possible? What is wrong? What is up with that guy who waives his right as a parent? And I think it's accountability.
Mhm.
Accountability
Mhm.
and not seeking help, because like you said,
Mhm.
it's a generational thing. It happened to
Mhm.
them and they somehow worked it in their mind that it's okay if they do that to their children. And they're not going to blame, they're never going to say it's them. They're always going to be like the mother, the this, the every circumstance, but them looking in the mirror
At
and
themselves, yeah.
saying, I should have made sure and done everything in my power to be involved in my child's life. And I think it's accountability, and the accountability of you doing wrong as a parent, as a father, and accountability in that whatever, that generational trauma of your father not being around, you didn't address that.
Mhm.
Because if you addressed it enough, you wouldn't do that to your child.
You just wouldn't, because
You wouldn't.
the trauma of not having a father around would
Mhm.
linger so much in your life that you
Mhm.
wouldn't want that to be in anybody else's, right?
Mhm.
um and in that situation, because I wonder to myself, is this a nature nurture situation where it can't be genetic? It
Mm-mm.
cannot be something that is passed down through genetics,
No,
can
it's
it?
what you see. No.
So then, how do we have two boys raised by the same mother, different fathers, and they both lead totally different lives? Like, for instance, there are some who, I'll never let this happen. I saw how it hurt my mom. I felt what it did to me. He's a loser. I'm never going to be like him. And they achieve just that. And then there's the other hand where this is what they've seen and this is what they duplicate.
Mhm.
So I guess accountability is a characteristic that would definitely explain the difference between the two situations. Because a lot
Yeah.
of people like to say, well, if you don't know, if you weren't raised with with a father, then how are you ever going to learn how to be a father?
Mhm.
Well, I've seen many a men who were not raised with fathers that end up to be just awesome fathers.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you couldn't have asked for a better father, right? So that's out the window. That explanation's gone out the window. So it does have to be something about accountability. But I started to think about it when we were talking about it last night. And esteem, self-esteem,
Self-esteem, you're right. That is another big one.
self-esteem, because you said something when we were talking. You said the woman turned the mirror back around at you, right? And so you're faced with yourself and the lack thereof, right? Now, yes, you can take accountability for what you didn't do, or you can look at the reflection and hate it.
Mm. Yeah.
So much so that you don't see the value in anything that you do.
Yeah.
So you live your life without trying to produce more value. Hence your child. So leading and growing your child to be an upstanding man, that's a valuable thing, right? So if you have no esteem, if you don't see yourself as being valuable, you cannot ever extend that value or teach
Mm.
somebody else how to value themselves or to value their contributions or to value life, you know? And so I'm putting all of these things in my brain, compiling these characteristics that would make those situations vastly different, but yet they start the same. So accountability, esteem. You have no self-esteem. You cannot possibly. That's your seed. And some of these little kids, they look exactly like their damn father walking around on this earth. So anyway, this is a large discussion that I feel can't possibly be addressed in one show
No.
and one segment.
Well, we worked it out enough. It was a
But we're
good. We had
we're
some.
talking about it, and I think that it affects our community a great deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what this man displayed to me in the video was exactly what we're talking about: a lack of community accountability and a lack of self-esteem. Because how? First of all, the simple fact that you're in a barber shop and the stepdad is there shows that you were incapable of doing something. It shows that you aren't able to raise your own son. So it's setting off the whole environment for this person who has a low self-esteem to carry on the way that he did, because it's easier to do that than to take the accountability. It's easier to do that than to look in that mirror and evaluate self. It's easier to do that than to work out the traumas that you've had in your own personal life so you can be a better man going forward. It's easier to throw a tantrum in the damn shop in front of your son. You see, and this is what these fathers don't realize, is that these kids desperately want you in their life. They want their parent around. So whenever you do anything, they're watching you. Okay? And whether we believe it or not, children, a lot of children, they put their fathers in a hero position. So
Of
he's
course.
looking at you act a damn fool, and now he's going to think it's okay to act a damn fool like that. So I want to big up the stepfather in this
Yeah.
because
Big up the stepfathers out
what?
there
He was a
who step
strong
up to
man,
the
you
plate.
see? He's a strong man, yeah. Not even Jonathan Majors could handle it. You see me? He had to eyebrow up the situation, brethren. That stepfather was strong. He's strong. He's
He said, "I'm
strong in
not
his
gonna even."
manhood. He's strong in his esteem. He
Mhm.
was not going to allow you to break him, and he wasn't going to catch a case over a haircut.
Mhm.
That's a different caliber of man.
Yep.
Okay? So all these people who are dissing the stepdads, they're not simps. You are noble human beings. It takes a very special person to step in the gap and love that child just as you love the mother. And so, with
Mm.
all of that said, and all of the nonsense that we saw in this damn video, let him go sit down
Woo.
someplace, okay? Let him please go sit down someplace. Um, but we do hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. So whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful. We'll talk to y'all real soon. Stay out these barbershops. These men are acting the damn fool in these barbershops.
Bye.
Bye.